right, we're back and it's time to continue this process of multiplication. Your child is now at a point where they understand that multiplication is the process of grouping numbers and it's time to build fluency. So let's do it. Now, today we're going to work with building fluency and multiplying sixes. It's going to be pretty fun, and I'm not going to lie, I'm very excited. And you should be too, because your child is now entering a process into a world where they're now able to access larger numbers very quickly. I know. Hold on. Let's take a moment. It's great. All right, now I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but in all reality, multiplying now, if they're at the point where they're building fluency with sixes, they are really moving and it's really exciting. And I know you're having a good time as a parent helping your child understand and go through this process. Now I'm gonna start off with my clause. All right, if you happen to be out there with a tutor or with a teacher, or you're on a website and you see someone say the word memorize your multiplication facts, turn it off, go away, walk out the door. Teachers aren't saying that, tutors shouldn't be saying that, and if you're on a website that's saying that, walk out the door. It's not helping you. Memorizing facts, no. Right now, if they want to say memorize, if you see coming out of their mouth, just walk in the opposite direction, because they're going to do more harm than help. All right, they might alleviate a problem for a moment, but if your child's not great at memorizing facts right now, then it's not going to happen. So teach them rules and teach them strategies. Thank you for being here, because that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, when we're multiplying a number times 6, like I said, and like you already know, and like your child has already come to learn, we're grouping numbers. So if I had 6 times 3, or 3 times 6, as they are inverted, you know that is either 6 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 6. Now, what does 6 groups of 3 look like? I'm glad you asked. I have 1, 2, 3. That is one group of 3. I have 1, 2, 3. That is 2 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. 4 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. 5 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. 6 groups of 3. That is exactly what 6 groups of 3 looks like, if you're using circles, of course. And if you counted them all up, I've pre-done this in my head, 6 times 3, and I've used some of the fluency strategies. The answer will be 18. All right, and the same if I use 3 groups of 6. I'm not going to bore you by drawing my pointless circles of 3 groups of 6, but if your child wants to draw 3 groups of 6, allow them to. It really helps them. It helps them understand, okay, I can get that image in front of me, 3 groups of 6, I can see it, and it allows them to really understand what they're doing. Allow them to. Don't worry, by the time they get into higher grades, they will no longer need to do this, because you've worked with them for a long time and they had great teachers. So there is a point in time where they won't have to do this, but right now, while you're watching this video, allow them to draw it. Thank you. All right, so that's my soapbox, and back to what we're doing here. All right, now multiples of 6, something that is good to know, are always even. There's a pattern, like there's a pattern with all numbers, generally speaking, unless you're working with pi, and that one's a little weird. But multiplying any number times 6, you're going to get an even product. And that helps your child, because when they're working on those tests or those exams or that homework assignment or anything in general, and they're multiplying a number times 6, if they come out and the number in the ones place is not even, such as 0, 6, 2, 8, 4, 0, 6, 2, 8, 4. Aha, you know the pattern. All right, so if it's not an even number, then it does not work. 6 times anything, then that's supposed to be a question mark. I know, I know. But 6 times anything will never give you any number with an odd in the ones place. You will not see it. You will not get it. If you do, unless of course, I mean whole numbers. If you work with decimals, then No, technically you still shouldn't see an even number. So 6 times any multiples of 6 are even. Good, we got it. Now, how do you teach your child to build this fluency? What is the rules for 6's? I know the rules for 3's, 4's, 2's. What's the rule for 6's? Well, at first, you want to go back and understand your rules for 5's. Remember counting on those fingers. Any number times 5 is just counting by 5's. The song, 5, 10, 15. That's great. But when you're working with the rule of 6's, and I got to get my pen right. For some reason, it's moving a little slowly. But when you're working with 6's, what you want to do is any number times 6 is first you want to multiply by 5 and then add that number. Remember when we worked with 3's, it was double the number, then add the number. This is I can't come up with a good riddle. I'm sorry. Multiply by 5, then add the number. No, it doesn't have a ring to it. Your child's not going to enjoy saying it, but it works. You multiply the number, then you multiply the number by 5, then you add the number. What does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you look at 6 times 2, 6 times 2, 6 times 2. All right, if you look at 6 times 2, what you're going to do first is you're going to multiply the number 2, because remember, we're working on 6's, multiples of 6's. You're going to first multiply by 5 by 2, and then you're going to add 2. So if I see, and right here I have it to show you, 5 times 2, 5, 10. Yay, equals 10. Then I'm going to add 2. So I have 5, 10, 11, 12. So 10 plus 2 equals 12. Therefore, 6 times 2 equals 12. I know, it's a eureka moment. When I'm teaching my students this in class, they really love it because they're like, oh, it's that easy. And so I give them numbers like 6 times 9. And they go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 54. But then I show them the 9's trick, and then that just completely blows their mind. Stay tuned. If you have nothing to do, go to the 9's trick if you haven't seen it yet. But back to 6's. So if your child sees 6 times 6, what you want to do to help them, again, you multiply first by 5's, and then you add the other number, which in this case is 6. Or 6, however you want to call it. So 5 times 6, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, right? Then 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So I have 5 times 6 equals 30 plus 6 will give your child 36. Therefore, 6 times 6 equals 36. And lastly, we have 4 times 6. All right, multiples of 6, so we're going to work with 4. 4 times 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 5 times 4 equals 20, plus 4 equals 24. And that is how you do the 6's. Enjoy teaching your child this, and they will enjoy it, and it will go fast for them, and then that fluency will build, and they'll recall those facts, and they'll understand, and they'll practice, and they'll practice, and they'll show their friends, and all the while, you'll enjoy seeing your child being successful in math. Maybe a subject that you were afraid of, maybe not. But anyway, thank you again for joining me on my learning block. I'll see you next time. Keep learning with me.